hopefully. Let's fill some airtime whilst we're waiting for first people to come in. What's the weather like over there?
Oh, I mean, it is absolutely grey and wet. It has been raining ever since I woke up today. So just classic Irish.
Actually, not bad here. I've got a really cute pair of turtle doves, which have like paired up, and they're in my garden, and they're sitting there like just together all day.
Oh,
It's very cute.
there's nothing cute about what I'm looking at right now.
No.
Cool. All right. Well, now we've got the obligatory weather chat out of the way.
Yeah.
We're going to kick off this this webinar today. I'm going to start sharing my screen so we can go through a few slides. So welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Leadoo live chat, how to set it up, how it works, and we'll have a bit of a demo with myself and Helen going through that process. So if you joined the last one, you'll know who we are, be familiar with us. So I'm Gavin, technical account manager here at Leadoo. I'm joined with Helen, who's the onboard and development manager. And so she's going to be managing the chat while we're here today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to pop those in. We'll have a bit of Q&A at the end. But of course, if you have questions throughout, just please put them in there. And I think we'll give it another sort of 15, 20 seconds, and then we'll just dive straight in.
Yeah, of course. So if you do post any questions during the webinar, I'll put them to Gavin as they come up, or anything that kind of I can respond quickly, I'll reply to in the chat. So, but yeah, so just pop them through as and when you have them, and we'll do our best to help and answer it during the webinar.
Great. Okay, let's get started. So what we're going to be going through today, I'll give you a bit of a rundown on the agenda, just so you can see what we'll be covering. So going through what exactly is live chat, how can we trigger it, how it works within the actual building of the chatbot itself, the settings then in terms of like timeout and categories and things like that, how you can add your users and how you can manage those users within the platform. And then actually looking at the live chat console itself, so like going through some examples of picking up the chats, having the conversations, what you can do in that screen, what you know what information you can see, and how you can access all of that. And then we'll chat a little bit about the transcripts and where you can find those within the platform. And obviously there's the option we can send those to like CRMs if that's what you want to do as well. And as I say, that we will be doing a Q&A at the end. If you have any questions, of course, you can just send those throughout. But this is sort of a rough agenda of what we'll be going through today. So first of all, what is the live chat? And so we'll show you a demo as we go, but we recorded a quick video of the sort of the thought behind our live chat. It's really a hybrid where it's the option is that if you're online, great, you can pick up the chat. If not, no harm done. It will just bypass that and potentially go to like a lead capture node where you can still pick up those leads. So it's like a seamless transition between someone who's offline and online. So the end user doesn't necessarily need to know that you're not available, and they can still reach out to you. So if I just show you quickly how this would work, we can see that once we click one of the options, it'll then, we can get the live chat, and then it'll take us through to there. So what we'll do is we'll show you how that actually looks within a live environment as well. But the idea is that it's just part of the chatbot. It's not outside of that. It's just one section within the chatbot itself. And so what we're going to do now is actually just jump in to the platform. So I have built a small demo here about the live chat and how it works within the chatbot itself. So I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can get an idea. So the idea behind this is that we want to create different pathways to activate the live chat node. And as I say, it's basically just a node within the chatbot itself. So at this point, we're saying when someone arrives, we're going to give them the choice. Do they want to talk to someone, or are they happy to just leave a message for now? Maybe they don't want to speak to someone just yet. And in that case, it'll just take them straight through to the live chat node. And then from here, we have the option to add a nice personalized message to say that our team is online right now and we're ready to help. You can leave your contact details to start the chat. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it is a hybrid model, so that if you'll see that there's a connection straight after that goes to the form node. So that's in case that it's outside of hours, or people are busy, or they're not online, or whatever it may be. It'll just continue on almost like this doesn't exist. So if they try to talk to someone and there's no one available, it'll just go straight through to the form node, which is great, because then you won't really miss any of those opportunities if someone's trying to get in touch in the evening, for example. So that's really as simple as that can be set up. You'll notice that there is the different options for categories. We'll go through those when we look at the actual settings itself. And so that's really as simple as it is to get it set up within the bot. Now we can then customize how that'll play out. So I'm just going to jump over quickly to live chat settings.
Oh, before you go, Gavin, actually, I had a question, or at least something to cover.
Great.
So I can see there is that people had those two options to either talk to someone or leave a message straight away. What if I had, I needed to send through chats to two different teams, like customer support or sales, and I wanted it to go, to a different person?
Oh yeah, that's actually a great question. So we do have client examples of this where specifically in automotive, where they'd be going through to like sales, customer support, and service. So what we would do in that case, we would say, talk to someone, and then we would give them another option to say, well, like, which department would you like to speak to? You'll excuse my spelling. And then from there we can do, sales, support, for example. And then in that case, we'll just be connecting it to a different node. So from there, we'll just grab this and drag it into the empty space. And then from there, we can say live chat and messaging. And what we'll do is we'll just pick a different category in this case. So that one will have been demo Leadoo. This one will be, demo support, for example. And then we'll just connect that. So what we've done is we've created two different pathways. This one goes through to demo Leadoo. It could be through to sales, for example, and this one could be through support. And there's no sort of limit to the amount of these you can have within the bot itself. Like, the categories are essentially those different departments, and so there's no limit to you can have for those. But that's a really good point. And that's what we're actually going to look at now within the settings, is the categories and and what we can do within there. So I'm just going to open this in a new tab. And then from there, we can see there are a few different things to consider. So we've got the welcome message. Now, you'll notice that before we have typed this one in manually, so it would overwrite what we would have here. This is the generic one that we want to have at all times, but you can sort of overwrite that by having it within the bot itself if you wanted to make a more personalized message in that case. But this would be the default one that the visitors would see. And this is also where we can gate the live chat. So if we want to ask for name and email before that goes in, we can do that. I'll just save this so that it is name and email, and then you'll see that whenever Helen puts a chat in later on. So we have the option also to add phone and company name there if we want it. And then the next one to look at is the categories. So that's like the departments that we just spoke about there. And again, there's no limit to the amount of these that you can have. So it would just be a matter of, adding a new one, giving it a name, sales, for example, and then just saving that. And then that will allow you then to as we said, like, split up the chat. So you can also swap between different departments. If someone has got through to like someone's went through to sales, but they meant to go through to support, for example, there is the option to transfer chats. But we'll look at that whenever we see the actual the chat area. Another option to look at within here, and again, we'll see this more when we get into the actual chat itself, is like the predefined messages. So, I mean, if you find yourself constantly using the same sort of terminology, or maybe sharing the same sort of links to people, or the same sort of canned goodbyes or hello, maybe you want to keep a nice uniform sort of conversation style, you can save these as predefined messages. So in this example, we've got one for greetings. So like there's the overall category, and then within that, there's the actual message themselves. So we've got like the greetings, how can I help you? Informative, you may find more information about this on this page. For example, if you were, sharing FAQs very regularly, this would be very useful. And goodbyes and like support articles. So these are really good if you are doing those things very, very regularly. And again, just if you want to add a new one, add a new category, give it a name, and then add the new answer from there. And then we'll see how that looks in the actual chat itself. And then finally, we've got the timeout settings. So this is the case that if everyone is busy, for example, and they can't come to the chat, it's just to give the visitor a bit of feedback to let them understand. It's sort of like a queue, really. Like, we can say, it looks like everyone's busy right now. You can wait for an agent to become available, or you can just leave us a message. And you can have that set, between 1 and 5 minutes. And it's really just a really nice way to give that visitor the feedback, to let them really understand that something's happening. There's nothing worse than if they try to connect to a chat and no one's available, but they don't know that no one's available and they're not sure how long it would be. They would have to wait for, and it doesn't create a great experience. And it's quite likely they would just sort of, bounce and then, maybe go to a competitor or something like that, which obviously is the last thing that we would want to happen in this case. So that's the settings there. And I'm not sure if we have any questions around these in particular. Nothing just at the minute, but that's grand.
No, it looks good. I think, unless that's exactly where you're going next, show us how to do or set up users on the account, and especially covering things like sales and support. Oh, there is a question here. Hang on a second before you move over.
Excellent.
So we've got a question that says, can you display a message when you're out of hours? So if someone's clicked on that speak to someone, so there would be a message that would explain that, that it is out of hours and no one is available.
So I'll just jump back to the actual chatbot itself. Yes, you definitely can. And I suppose we have a mix of use cases for this. Some clients like to pretend that like this sort of live chat didn't happen and it just passes through and it'll just say, great, leave your details here. Some are more specific and explicit about it and will say, sorry, no one is available right now, please leave your details, like that sort of thing. So it's really controlled by the next stage after the live chat node. So again, just to go through, someone will come through, try to connect to live chat. If someone's online, great. If not, it'll bypass this and go to here. And then it's within this node, you can then put something specific to say, sorry, our agents aren't available right now. Our live chat hours are between 9 and 5. And, you can really just customize this to be whatever you would like. And then you can give them the option to leave their details there. And it would just come through like a normal lead. So I hope I answered that.
Perfect. There was nothing else that's come through.
Okay, yeah, and so the team is where we're heading next. Like, don't worry, this is all Leadoo staff here, so there's nothing really to worry about. But I suppose what we would do from here is each live chat account that you would have with us, you'd have a certain amount of seats that you'd be allowed to use, and then from here it's just a matter of adding them in. So you'd invite a member, you would add their name, their email, and their roles. So you can obviously have them as an admin or an owner, and that would give them full access to the platform. If you just wanted them to have access to the live chat area, you would make them an agent. And what that will do is it will just get rid of every one of these options except for this. So all these other ones would be gone. So, it's very decluttered. They wouldn't be intimidated by any of these extra areas that they don't need access to, or they really shouldn't have access to in some cases. And then the final option would be to pick which category they would then have access to. So again, going back to what we mentioned about sales versus support, you can either let them have access to all, or if you had, sales team and support team, you can divide those up and add them in from there. So that's how to add someone. Once you click send invitation, they'll get an email, and then it's just like adding a normal member of your account, and they'll just come, change their password, log in, and they'll be good to go. And then from there, it's a matter of sort of updating their profile. So I'll just show you that now. So if you click on the icon at the top and click on my account, what this will do is it'll show you the photo, and then from there you can click on this, and that'll give you the option to add an image. So if you want to update your own image there, you can put your display name, so that what your live chat display name would be, and then that'll just make it just customized for you specifically. So that's just a nice way to have that ready for the visitors who are coming to the site. And then finally, and the thing that we haven't mentioned yet is actually, once you've done that and you've got your icon ready, your display name already, then it's a matter of turning on live chat to say online. So to do so, it's really just a toggle. It's an on and off. It's an on and off toggle. So whenever you log in to Leadoo in the morning, say you're doing 9 to 5 is your live chat hours, you'll log in at 9, you'll turn this on. And then before you finish the day, you'll just turn it off. And then that'll mean that you'll not be able to get the chats throughout the day, or once you've done that. So that's really as simple as just sort of turning it on and off to get ready. Okay, and now we're going to dive into the actual chat itself. So I'll go through what the screen looks like, and then Helen's going to put in a live chat for us, and so we can see how that actually plays out. So I'll turn this off admin mode for the second, but I'll explain what that is in a little bit. The idea here is that if you are logged in as an agent, you'll only be able to see the chats that you would have access to. So if you are in part of a certain department, you'll only be able to see the chats through there. They will all appear here. So Helen, if you can just stick one in now in a wee second, just whenever you're ready. Oh, there she is. So what we'll see is there's an open chat here. Now, there's no limit to how many this would be. It can handle tens, hundreds. We've got clients who are going through lots of these per day. So there's sort of no limit to what that can handle. You'll notice also there's a little pop-up here to say there's a new impending chat, and it's dinging in my ear as well. You get a little bell to say, like a little notification that something is happening. So they'll all appear here. If I click this, you'll see it jumps into the middle of the screen, and then I can either decide to take that chat or not. And so it's sort of done like a first come, first serve basis if you have more than one agent. So if I click start myself, now the chat has begun. So I'll say hi.
So what's also worth noting is you saw the notifications that popped up when you've got the app on there, but even if you had that in the background, then you'll see an on-screen notification as well. I've just posted a link in the chat for reference for making sure that you're always getting those as well.
Great. No, good. Definitely a good tip. So what we'll see now with the chat is that basically, if you've ever used live chat before, it'll be quite similar to those sort of other platforms in that now that we're just going back and forth, we're just chatting. And then from there, we can look to add attachments. If we want to add, contracts or quotes, or if someone wants to upload an image, they can send images to you. If they had to send you, something, about one of their products, if it was defective or that sort of thing. We can then look at those predefines that we also spoke about earlier. So we can see the different categories here, like greetings, informative goodbye, support articles. So I can say, I could send this to Helen, and she would have that link to go from there. As I said, we can look to transfer chats if it turns out that this person was in the wrong department, or I needed to escalate it to a supervisor, for example. We could send that to another user who was online. And then obviously I can just decide to end the discussion at any time. Now, what you'll see on the right-hand side is that as we are talking, it's building out Helen's contact profile. So because we've asked for name and email at the start of the chat to kick it off, it's filled in her contact record with that. So Helen, and then the email itself. Now, throughout the course of this conversation, if I discover her phone number, I can type that in. If I discover her company name, I can add that in, and then that'll be saved onto her contact record. We'll also be able to see any notes, and if we want to add notes about this chat, and then there's also the option to add labels. So if we did say that, if we find out what type of customer that Helen was, maybe she's a new customer, maybe she's a returning visitor, or maybe she has a specific need that we'd want to add a label to, just to sort of fill out the contact record, so that if this lead needs to get passed on to a CRM, for example, it has all the information there that we would need it to. And then finally on the screen, we can see where it came from. Now, because we are using a demo link, I've just given Helen the URL that she can activate the chat through, but you'd be able to see which page this came through, if it came through your home page or your pricing page or something like that, for example.
I have a question, Gavin, if you could show us.
Yep.
So sometimes we have the live chat obviously triggered right at the beginning of the conversation like that, but occasionally we might put it later on in the conversation. if we want to kind of do a bit more qualification before someone comes through to live chat. Could you show us how the agents are able to see what's happened before they've started the live chat, or maybe what their activity has been previously?
Yeah, of course. And actually, yeah, we have quite a lot of clients who do that, where maybe they've asked some qualification questions first. They don't want them to go straight through the live chat. Part of the appeal behind the bots is that we can qualify people out, and so they're only getting through if it's, it's a real need. And in that case, if you click the bot discussion, now we'll not see much in this instant because there wasn't much before it, but you'll see what do you want to do, talk to someone. And that is really, if I just jump back to the bot, that's gathering this information. So if we had many more steps in front of this, like where are you based? What's your inquiry about? If it's more sort of sales driven, it could be, what's your budget? It could be, when are you looking to start your project? Like those sort of questions could be asked first and then directed to a live chat node. And then from there, we would see all this information. So you'd be able to chat to the person. You would know this already. So you wouldn't need to keep asking those questions again. You'd have all that information in front of you. And if they were, and I'll just, the other thing I suppose to mention is, it's quite likely they may have came back from a previous visit, or they've done more than just this thing on the site now, just this interaction. So if we clicked, I'll just open this in a new tab so we get an idea. But we can jump over to the visitor profile, and we can see what Helen has done, and you can see that yesterday, we were doing our prep for this and doing a bit of testing, that she was able to see like what pages she's visited before, how many instances she's had, if she had any discussions. So you'll be able to see that as well. So if you were, on a sales chat, for example, you'd be able to look back at this information and reference and see the pages that they'd already looked at. It might give you an idea of what product they're interested in, or what services they're interested in, or even the industry they're part of. And that sort of information is all at hand, because we're storing all this information on the visit even before they become a contact. And then whenever they become a contact, it'll just backfill that information into the record. So I hope that answered that. Let's sort of expand it a wee bit on it there slightly.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I'm going to end this now and chat about the other options here. So I'll just end this now. Obviously, it was lovely chatting to you today, Helen. So you'll see that there's 4 different blocks here. So active chats, there's no more active chats now. If there were more, they would just fill in here and we could switch between the two. So as I say, like there's no limit to the amount of chats that you could handle. In theory, it depends obviously on your own capacity and things like that. But there's no limit that you can have active there. You'll also then see there's a history tab, and then that'll show us any previous chats that we've had. So they'll stay there. For training purposes, if you want. You can also delete them. So in this case, if I delete it, it'll give me the option to archive it, and that'll make it stay there forever. So it'll never be deleted. You might want to save those if there were any sort of pertinent information, or if it was, complaints and things like that. There's just sort of easy examples to make. And then if you had any unanswered chats, quite a lot here, obviously, but this is just from a testing account. But you'll see that you'll get an idea of how many people are chatting. Are you missing them regularly? What time are they coming in at? And what time are you missing those at? If there's any sort of trends, you could glean from that. Now, I'm just going to flick over to admin mode a second to give you an idea of what an admin user would see. So not the agent level, but an admin for the account, you can see all day access. So they'll be able to see everyone's chats. They'll be able to see everyone's active chats, unanswered, history, archive, not just relating to that person. So again, if someone was like a supervisor or managing that team, they might want to be able to look at those for, as I say, like for training purposes, and even sort of just like those sort of things to see if there was any sort of trends they could learn from that. They'll also be able to toggle this on to see how many agents are online at the minute. And they can just click that to go back to chat. So you'll be able to see, basically they'll be able to see everything. I suppose what's key is that you can't take chats from each other or anything like that. You'll just be, I would just be able to see what's going on from there. But once someone has taken over that chat, it'll be there. So if you were worried about, I suppose the easy example would be sales taking other people's chats and things like that. So that's not really an option from there. So that's really how the chat itself works. As I say, quite straightforward. Hopefully it makes sense. And if you have used other chat platforms before, it's maybe not too dissimilar to that. And I think I have another question there, Helen, do we?
Yeah, so I think you showed us really helpfully, like where you see kind of just the live chats and kind of the history and unanswered. Occasionally, I speak to clients who want to be able to like email something, so for someone else's attention to follow up on, or just is there a way of kind of getting that transcript internally?
Yeah, of course. So let me just jump over to the leads section 2 seconds, and I'll just hide this personal data in case there's anything in here that we shouldn't be showing. But the idea is that once you go to the leads tab, you'll be able to see all this information either as unconverted or converted leads. So in this case, it would be converted because Helen gave her name and email. In the instances where we're not asking for name and email to start the chat, it would be on the unconverted tab. And if you have more than one bot, you can search by name specifically. So we've called this one live chat setup. Obviously, you won't have to search for that as much in your own one. So if I click on this, I can see the most recent lead that has happened. We can see the bot that it came through, the URL that they converted from, and then from there we can use the option to send to. So either send to the email recipient that is defined in the bot settings. So jumping back to here, sorry again, if you have lead notification email set up, you can choose to send it to whoever was in here, or you can send it to a new email address. You can just type that in. Or if you have an integration live, you can send that straight to there. And what that'll do is it'll send all of this information. So all the contact details, the conversion source, the visitor source, the user journey, and key is like the bot discussion and the transcript. So you can see this is the transcript here. So this would all be sent through as an email. And we can also send this to CRMs. Now, normally it would just be sent into the description field or the note field with the rest of the bot discussion. But we do have some clients in some cases who have created a separate field within their CRM, which would just handle the chat transcript itself, and then they'd be able to either sort of forward that on to the visitors or keep it internally for records and things like that. So you can either send it or you can have it sent through as part of the integration.
Brilliant, thank you.
Great. Okay. Well, I think that is really as much as we had to cover today. I suppose the only other one that we can touch on briefly, this isn't for agents, this is for everyone else, like for the admins and the owners of the accounts. So the agents won't be able to see the insight screen, but if you wanted to look at any of the reporting side of it, you'll be able to see then how many chats you've had in the previous time frame, how many messages, what's the average response time, and if we scroll down, we can see the most successful categories, how long you're spending on those in those categories, how many messages have you received, for example. So just get an idea of what's been happening with live chat. And if we looked over at the team performance tab, we can see a sort of leaderboard, if you like, with how many have been assigned, participated. And so this is really useful for, we might look at Freddie and he's done 2 chats and how long's he spent on those. So we can sort of get an idea of maybe you're spending too long on those or not spending long enough, or if there's any sort of queries around why you didn't accept so many chats this month. It may be that you were on one that took sort of 10-15 minutes. Maybe it was a very complex case, for example. So just more information here that you can see. And again, that sort of average response time, if you have any of those SLAs in place to sort of say that you'll be trying to answer any chats within 1 minute and that sort of thing. So just give you an idea of what's been happening there. But again, this is for admins and sort of owners of the platform who will be looking to do reporting on this. The agents themselves, as I say, will just be able to see this screen here. Okay, so I think we're almost at the end. I'm not sure if we have much more to cover. If there's any questions now, please feel free to put them in. If not, I'm going to show up the last slide, which has a couple of QR codes that Helen's very generously got ready for us. That'll take us to sort of other FAQs and links that are very helpful.
So I guess whilst we're waiting for anything to pop in, it's good to know. So if you're in your onboarding still, so with me or my colleague Ryan, then we can run sessions like this one, training sessions with your team if you want to have some one-to-one sessions. This webinar is going to be available on recording as well. So it means they can just dip into it at any time, get a bit more of an in-depth view. On the QR code we'll be sharing in a moment, there's a kind of very quick intro video that's also hosted on our YouTube, as well as, I think Gavin's about to click on it, a user manual as well. So it just means that if you need a bit of like face-to-face help with this to get started, then we're happy to arrange that, or of course with your account manager, or of course they can kind of do this at any time in using the manual, using that YouTube video. It's a very lightweight chat. People find it quite easy to get started. Once you understand how you want to use it internally, you should be quite quick to get going. But if you've got any questions, of course, you can always ask us or whoever you're in touch with at the time, whether you're still in the onboarding phase or you're with the customer success team already. So I think I might have took the wind from you there and actually got you into that last slide as well.
No, that's perfect. No, it was great. I mean, you were very generously got the QR codes ready, so it's nice and easy for people to access. And once you're in the builders and things like that, and in the platform, there's chatbots that we've built that will have links to those videos on YouTube and other support guides as well. So no shortage of support. And as Helen said, like if you wanted some individual training, so just reach out to herself or Ryan if you're in onboarding, or your account manager if you're out of onboarding, and we can do these sessions. And you can see how quickly we ran through that there. So if you do have new team members, we can get them up to speed and get them using live chat really quickly.
Okay, doesn't look like there's any other questions that have come through.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us today. Obviously, everyone will get a recording of this, and we'll be in touch about the next series. So we're going to be doing webinars like this every month on different topics in the platform itself. So we'll hopefully see you on the next one.